Hello everyone, and welcome to my B&B Fan Club channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Dee Sharp had always pursued dreams that seemed just out of reach, like sketches on a page that never captured the vibrancy in his mind. Growing up in the shadow of a father he barely knew, Dee Sharp, and a mother who died too young from a cruel illness, Dee, once known as Little Eric in a life that appeared to be someone else's story, had learned early on that family was fragile. Becky Moore had only been his anchor for a brief moment before cancer took her away, leaving him torn between grandparents and distant relatives. By the time he was a teenager, he'd reinvented himself, shedding the Forrester ties Amber had imposed on him in her desperate baby swap plan. No more Eric Forrester III, just Dee. Simple. Strong. His own. In Los Angeles, a city of glittering facades and broken promises, Dee poured his heart and soul into fashion design. He graduated from a small art school in New York, scraping by on scholarships and late-night shifts at coffee shops, daydreaming about Forrester Creations, the empire his half-sister Hope Logan helped build. But he wanted to earn it, not inherit it from bloodlines he'd grown distant from. That's how he ended up dating Remy Price, a charming man with a sharp wit and a smile that could light up a runway. Remy understood the difficulty of concealing aspects of oneself. He'd admitted early on about his confusing past crushes and the internalized fears that drove him to lash out. They were good together, or so Dee believed. Remy made him laugh and made him feel seen in a world that frequently ignores quiet dreamers like him. But Los Angeles had a way of exposing secrets. Dee got the job at Forrester based on his own merits, an anonymous portfolio submission that impressed Hope. His urban chic designs revitalized Hope for the future, combining street edge with elegant lines. Hope, his unknowing sister, became a mentor, drawing him into the glittering chaos of the Forrester universe. That's when the cracks appeared. Remy became cautious about visiting the office, insisting that Dee keep their relationship private. "It's complicated," Remy would say, looking away. Dee attributed it to Remy's lingering shame over coming out fully. Love implied patience, correct? Then came Luna Nozawa. Dee walked into their apartment one night to find her alive and unapologetic, despite the headlines about her double murder and prison escape. Remy swore she was just an old friend who had helped him through difficult times. But Dee's stomach twisted. Luna's eyes were cold, and Remy's excuses piled up like discarded fabric scraps. Dee persisted, inviting Remy to the office party, a casual welcome for the new designer. What harm could it cause? The damage was catastrophic. The room fell silent as Dee proudly introduced Remy to the team, which included Hope, Ivy, Will, Katie, Daphne, and most notably Elektra. Elektra's face had lost its color, and her body trembled like a leaf in a storm. "Him," she whispered, her voice breaking. Remy, the stalker who tormented her, leaked her private photos and shattered her sense of security. The one who served time but managed to reintegrate into society. Accusations flew. Will lunged, prepared to defend his friend. Hope's eyes widened in horror as she realized that her brother's boyfriend was the monster who had nearly broken Elektra. Dee's world crumbled in that showroom. Remy begged, tears streaming down his cheeks, claiming he had changed, that his actions were motivated by confusion, fear, and a desperate attempt to find his identity. "I was lost, Dee. You saved me. Please don't throw us away." But Dee saw the truth, the manipulation, the darkness Remy concealed behind charm. Elektra's pain mirrored Dee's own naivety. He had trusted too easily and loved too blindly. That night, alone in their apartment, Dee packed Remy's belonging. He said, "Get out," with a hollow voice. "I can't unsee what you did to her. To us." The repercussions reverberated throughout Forrester. Steffi and Ridge debated shutting down Hope's line, concerned about the drama Dee's personal life would bring. Hope defended him fiercely, her brother, whom she had finally found after years apart. Deacon, hearing the news at Il Giardino, drew Dee into a rare embrace. "Kid, you've got my blood. Tough as nails. But love, it blinds us all." Deacon's own mess with Sheila stood out as a cautionary tale of toxic bonds. Dee threw himself into work, sketching furiously to relieve the pain. His designs became bolder and darker, with edgier silhouettes that screamed resilience. Elektra unexpectedly became an ally. Over late-night sessions, they bonded over betrayal. He fooled me too, Deke confessed one evening as they looked through fabric swatches. Electra's smile was small but genuine. We're survivors, Deke. That's our superpower. But peace was illusory in Los Angeles. Whispers surrounded Deke. Was he tainted by association? Remy, desperate and insane, stalked the edges of his life. Text messages, shadows outside the apartment. Then came the trip which changed everything. Hope, who was planning her wedding to Liam, suggested a bachelor and bachelorette weekend in Las Vegas. Clear your head, she told Deke. Family time. No drama. Deacon tagged along, hoping to bond with his son. Electra joined for fun, with Will and a few others rounding out the crowd. Vegas, the city of sins and second chances, is where Deacon used to hustle casinos in his wild youth. Initially, the neon lights blinded them. Casinos were filled with laughter and loss. Deke tried to let loose with drinks at the Bellagio and shows on the Strip. Remy texted obsessively, I miss you. Come back. Deke blocked him, but the unease persisted. One night, after too many shots at a high roller table, the group split. Deke wandered off with a mysterious woman from the bar, her laugh echoing Remy's familiar charm. She called herself Mia, and her dark hair cascaded like a veil. You're cute when you're sad, she said softly, leading him to a private suite. What happened next was hazy in Deke's memory. Flashes of passion, her hands on him, then argument. She wanted money and jewelry out of his wallet. You're a forester, right? Loaded. Deke pushed back, perplexed and angry. A struggle. A lamp crashed. Then everything went black. He awoke in a holding cell, his head pounding and Vegas PD approaching. You're under arrest, Mr. Sharp. Connection to a murder. That woman, Mia Voss, found dead in the suite. Strangled. Your prints everywhere. Fear gripped Deke's throat. He had not. Has he? The blackout, the rage over Remy's betrayal boiling over. No. Impossible. The news broke. Deacon Sharp's son arrested in shocking Las Vegas murder. The tabloids feasted. Hope flew in, tears streaming down her cheeks, and she hired the best lawyers available. Deacon paced the station, his past crimes haunting him. Embezzlement and accessory to murder. Not my boy, he mumbled. Electra paid a visit, her eyes red. I believe you, Deke. Remy's been posting online jealous rants. He followed us here. Evidence piled up cruelly. Security cameras showed Deke entering with Mia and no one else. Her blood is under his nails. But Deke remembered fragments. A shadow in the hall, Remy's voice whispering threats days earlier. If I can't have you. The trials in Vegas were swift and merciless. Prosecutors portrayed Deke as a privileged kid unraveling. A betrayed lover turned murderer. Witnesses from LA testified about Electra's trauma and Remy's obsession. Remy took the stand and apologized with fake tears. Deke was unstable after our breakup. Violent. Untrue. But the jury believed it. Hope screamed in court as the verdict was read. Guilty. Life sentence. Deke, numb, whispered to his sister. Find the truth. Remy did this. Framed me. In prison, the distinct sadness settled like dust. Deke, once full of dreams, now drew on scraps, faded designs of freedom. Deacon's visits broke him. I failed you, son. Like I failed everyone. Hope fought appeals, uncovering clues. Remy's Vegas alibi crumbled, and a witness saw him near the hotel. Electra dug deeper, hacking old messages, including Remy's boast about ending Deke's happiness. Years blurred in gray walls. Deke's spirit withered, and the boy who believed in love became a ghost. One day, a guard handed him a letter from Hope reading, We're close. Proof incoming. Hold on. But Hope was a cruel teaser. A riot broke out with gangs clashing. Deke, caught in the middle, received a shank to the stomach. He was bleeding out in the infirmary when he remembered his mother, Becky's smile. It's okay, he exclaimed to the nurse. I was never meant for happy endings. News broke in Los Angeles. Dee Sharp dies in prison riot, innocent man framed? Exoneration came after his death. Remy was arrested and confessed in a breakdown. It was a jealousy-fueled setup, with Mia hired to seduce and drug Deke before killing her himself. At the funeral, the Forrester family gathered. Hope sobbed over the casket. My brother stolen twice. Deacon shattered a glass at Il Giardino, cursing his legacy. Electra placed a sketchbook on Deke's grave, containing his final designs that were never sewn. In the end, Deke's story was the saddest kind. A life of potential crushed under the weight of betrayal. He chased light in a world of shadows and loved fiercely in a place that devoured the innocent. Las Vegas took his freedom and prison took his life. But in quiet moments, those who knew him whispered that his designs endured, eternal, unbreakable, like the soul they couldn't dim. The city moved on, and runways were brimming with new collections inspired by the late designer. But for Deke there was only silence. A distinct sadness, woven into fabric that time could not unravel. He was gone, a victim of love's darkest thread. Framed, forgotten, and eternally young in memory's cruel embrace. Deacon visited the grave frequently and left casino chips. Sorry, kid. Vegas always wins. Hope established a foundation in his honor, offering scholarships to aspiring designers from underprivileged backgrounds. Electra wore a necklace featuring his initials, vowing never to trust blindly again. Remy rotted in his cell, haunted by Deke's face. I just wanted you back, he muttered to the empty space. And somewhere in the ether of what ifs Deke drew stars, free at last, but oh the cost. The profound and heartbreaking tragedy of a life unlived, love unreturned, and dreams murdered in the neon night. Deke's focus was not on the fashion that night. His gaze kept moving to a corner table, where Evelyn Chase, the fiery and brilliant editor-in-chief of Lux Life magazine, sat alone. She appeared radiant, even dangerous, with her red lips curled into a smile that dared anyone to lie to her. Evelyn and Deke had a slow-burning, deep history. They had built empires, shattered reputations, and once loved each other fiercely. But tonight, there was tension between them, an unseen crackling that even the music couldn't mask. Evelyn had something which she claimed could destroy him. When she eventually cornered him near the terrace, her words cut deeper than any headline could. Do you think you can control the narrative, Deke? She hissed, her eyes glinting. But the truth has a way of presenting itself in the light. I know what happened in Las Vegas. He froze. The sound of laughter and glass clinking appeared to fade into static. You don't know what you're talking about, he said softly, his voice trembling just enough to deceive him. Oh, I think I do, she said quietly, stepping closer. And I believe the police will too. Evelyn died 2 days later. The scene in her hotel suite in Las Vegas was gruesome, with a shattered glass of red wine on the floor and broken perfume bottles staining the carpet like blood. Her phone, notes, and laptop are all gone. The world gasped and the headlines came quickly. But one name echoed throughout every newsroom and runway backstage: Deke. The police did not take long. Surveillance footage captured him in Vegas the night before. A single argument was caught on camera in the Mirage's lobby. And then nothing. When they came for him at his studio, Deke did not fight. He simply lowered his sketch pencil, exhaled slowly and remarked, I knew this day would come. The city turned against him overnight. Clients disappeared. Models declined to wear his designs. The press tore into his past, exposing old scandals, failed relationships, debts, and whispered rumors of affairs. Even his business partner and longtime friend, Laura Devereaux, began to question her own knowledge. Laura had always believed in Deke's vision, talent, and even his chaos. They founded their fashion label together a decade ago, when they were young, hungry, and fearless. She recalls spending long nights sketching by candlelight, the two of them daydreaming about runways and red carpets. But now, as she watched him being led away in a police car, she noticed something in his eyes that chilled her. Not guilt, but a strange calm, as if he was finally free. She could not remain silent. That night, Laura paid him a visit in the holding cell, where the air was thick with disinfectant and regret. Tell me the truth, she asked. Have you killed her? He looked up, his face pale in the harsh fluorescent lighting. No, he whispered. But I know who did. Laura refused to believe him. But as Deke told her what had actually happened, the truth unfolded like one of his twisted designs. Beautiful, dangerous, and full of sharp edges. He and Evelyn had met in Vegas to finalize a deal that would secure funding for their new product line. But Evelyn discovered something darker in the company's books. A series of offshore transfers, with millions disappearing into hidden accounts. She suspected Deke was behind it. But he wasn't. It was Marcus, Deke said, clutching the edge of the table. Marcus Vale is our investor. He has been laundering money through our brand for years. Evelyn discovered the proof. I begged her to be quiet until I could fix it, but she refused. She said she would expose him that night. Lara's breath caught. Marcus was powerful and ruthless, a man who smiled for cameras while making enemies disappear in silence. If that's true, she whispered, then he had a motive. Exactly, Deke replied. But he is framing me. He knew I would be there. He knew we were going to argue. He planted evidence. Lara exited the station, her thoughts racing. If Deke was correct, Marcus was dangerous and still free. She needed to be careful. She started digging quietly, looking through bank records, reviewing contracts, and calling old contacts. And what she discovered made her blood run cold. There were hidden accounts, some with fictitious names and others routed through shell companies in the Caribbean. Every trail led back to Marcus. But one thing was missing. Evidence linking him to Evelyn's murder. Then one night, she received a message from an unknown number. You are in over your head. Stop digging or you'll end up like her. Her hands shook as she read the words. But Lara was never one to give up. Meanwhile in jail, Deke's world became smaller. The designer who had once commanded stages now drew with a dull pencil on scraps of legal paper. He drew dresses that will never be seen, visions of freedom stitched in graphite and fantasies. The guards mocked him, and the tabloids dubbed him the killer couturier. But Deke was unbroken. Every night he replayed the night in Vegas in his head, looking for details. A sound, a shadow, anything. Then a single image appeared. Marcus's assistant, Nadia, leaving Evelyn's hotel room earlier that night. He hadn't given it much thought before, but it finally clicked. She was the link. Deke sent word to Lara via his lawyer. Lara tracked down Nadia, a quiet woman with tired eyes and a constant glance over her shoulder. At first, Nadia refused to speak. However, when Lara offered protection and immunity, the truth came out like spilled ink. It wasn't supposed to happen, Nadia cried. Marcus only wanted the files. He told me to distract her, take her laptop and make it look like a robbery. However, when she fought back, he lost control. He hit her. I did not intend for her to die. Lara documented everything. 2 days later, the world awoke to breaking news. Marcus Vale, fashion tycoon, arrested for murder and fraud. The video of Deke walking out of jail as a free man went viral, with cameras flashing, reporters shouting, and fans crying. But he did not smile. He did not wave. He just looked up at the sky, whispered something no one could hear, and walked away. Freedom, however, did not imply peace. Deke returned to his studio and stood among the ruins of what had once been an empire. His reputation was tarnished and his business was in shambles. Lara came to see him, her face torn between relief and sadness. They'll never forget what they said about you, she stated softly. Even if you're innocent. I don't need them to forget, Deke said, turning to a half-finished sketch. I just need to remind them who I am. He took up his pencil again. Weeks later, at a small unexpected fashion show in an abandoned warehouse, Deke unveiled the Resurrection collection. Each design told a story of destruction and rebirth, with jagged lines and torn fabrics stitched with gold as a metaphor for overcoming the unthinkable. The audience sat in stunned silence before rising to their feet. The applause was deafening. Lara watched from backstage, tears in her eyes. Despite his flaws, Deke was a survivor. A man who transformed pain into beauty and scandal into strength. As the lights dimmed, Deke emerged, bowed once and locked eyes with Lara. Thank you, he murmured. But somewhere in the back of the room, a shadow lingered. A man in a dark suit watching him with cold precision. Marcus Vale's empire had collapsed, but not everyone in his circle had left. There were still secrets buried deep, debts unpaid, and people seeking vengeance.